Well, hello and good evening, everyone. I am Gina from Gina K Designs, and I'm so excited to have you here with me and Tom tonight on Stampin' Chat Live. Tonight, we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to be playing with a technique called Faux Watercolor. And faux watercolor really makes you look like you're hand painting your images, which I just love that. I'm not a great watercolorist, but this technique is easy and anybody can do it, including me. So I think that you guys are going to have a great time. It is great to see everybody. I'm looking at all the comments. Welcome everybody from all over the United States and all over the world. So I had the privilege of being on the craft show in the UK yesterday morning here. It was 1 o'clock in the afternoon UK time. It was 7 a.m. here in the States in the Midwest. And so I got up at like 4:30 in the morning to put makeup on and to wash my hair and let it air dry because I wanted it to be curly. I'll tell you, by last night, I was pretty tired, but I had a great time with you guys over across the pond. It was great to see you and spend time with you. And I know some of you guys watched it either live, you were up early having your coffee, or you got a chance to watch the rewind. So if you do want to watch it, it was a wreath builder video, a wreath builder show. You can go over to the craft store in the UK, the craft store. I don't know if it's the craftstoreuk.com, but if you type in the craft store UK on Google, their website comes up and they've got a little tab that says rewind. And you can go back and watch the show, and it'll be up for, I think, 59 more days. So that was really fun. Really a nice opportunity to be over there and get to meet a whole bunch of new European crafters, UK crafters, too. So it was great. So while we're waiting for everybody to get here, I'll just tell you that Tom and I went on a bike ride on Saturday. And Tom, where are you? Come say hello to everybody. There you are. So Tom and I went on a bike ride. Yes, on Saturday, was it? Is that when we went?
No, we went on Sunday, didn't we?
We went on Sunday?
No, maybe not. You're right.
Oh, I think it was Saturday.
See, I'm confused.
Yeah, I know. Because Sunday felt like Monday because we were doing a live, right?
Right.
So Saturday, Tom and I went on a bike ride, and I got stung by what I thought was a bee, but it ended up being a wasp. And it stung me right here. I have a dot. This thing still hurts. It's itchy. It's uncomfortable. And I heard that if you get stung once, each time you get stung, you become more susceptible to an allergy. So I was asking Tom if my lips looked big or my face looked swollen, but I made it through. But those things, man, I don't know if you've ever been stung by a bee. If you've never been stung by a bee, it feels like you got hit by lightning. I'm pretty sure. All right, so I want to show you two cards that I made.
The lightning people might have something to say about
Well, that's true. I guess if somebody's hit by lightning, they might say, I'd rather get stung by a hornet or a wasp. Well, I want to show you two cards because I started a new series here on my YouTube channel, and they're called 5-minute cards. And I wanted to show you the two cards that I made because they both used ink cubes. So let's just go over to the overhead. This one here is how to use ink cubes as a background. And what's really fun about ink cubes, let me just zoom in here a little bit. What's really fun, and this actually pertains a little bit to my video tonight. So what's really cool about ink cubes is our cubes have the linen, the felt the felt kind of cushion. And so it leaves a really cool texture behind. So it looks like fabric. Isn't that pretty? So you can do this as a background, and then you can stamp silhouette style images on top. And you can make this card in 5 minutes. If you watch that video, it'll show you how easy it is. Then I made another 5-minute card video, and that was this one. And this one, I used ink cubes, and I smushed them onto an acrylic block and spritzed them with water. And then I stamped the block itself right onto watercolor paper. I let it dry, and then I stamped some leaves. Well, tonight we're going to use these leaves again. This is from the Autumn Silhouettes stamp set. And I wanted to show you how pretty that looks, almost like watercolor. Well, our ink does have a smoothing agent in it. However, you can also do some pretty cool watercolor techniques, and you can see it doesn't really smooth out that much. It gives you that watercolor look. So tonight we're going to be playing with ink, but instead of cubes, we're actually going to be playing with some reinkers. Now, that being said, if you don't have the Gina K Designs reinkers, but you have other dye reinkers, you can certainly try this technique with those reinkers. I'm sure it will work. If you don't have any reinkers and you have ink cubes, you can use your ink cubes for this. If you don't have ink cubes, you can use water-based markers for the second step of this technique. But I really love using the reinkers for this, and that's what I wanted to show you tonight. It's always fun to learn another technique to use a product that you already have. So if you buy reinkers when you buy your ink cubes and your ink pads and you think, oh, I only use them to re-ink my pads, well, here's a whole other fun way to use them. Okay, so for this technique tonight, we are going to use some watercolor paper, and I just have a strip of it here because I want to show you what this looks like, and then we'll make some cards. And yes, thank you so much. I'm glad you guys are liking the 5-minute videos. I started a playlist by the request and great idea of one of my viewers, a playlist on my YouTube channel called 5-Minute Cards. So I'm going to put all those videos together in that playlist so you can find them easily and you don't have to rummage through. So that's another little thing. Okay. So welcome, welcome everyone. All right. So I have this watercolor paper here, and watercolor paper usually has two sides. One feels a little rougher than the other. You can use either side for this. Okay, so the first stamp set I want to use, actually, I'm going to do this with the leaves just as a little trial to show you how to work this. Pardon me for my cough. And I'm going to use the Autumn Silhouette stamp set. If you have any kind of solid leaves, something that maybe is a little bit grungy, it'll work really well. I know a lot of you already have this because this was one of our kits. And so a lot of you got this kit. I saw somebody ask if you can use alcohol inks, but they do dry very, very quickly. And I don't know if you know, but alcohol inks will really stain your stamps. Not that that matters. Look how stained these stamps are. But if you're somebody that doesn't like your stamps to get stained, alcohol markers will stain a little bit. So you do have to be aware of that. And I'm going to pull 3 of these stamps off of here because I'm going to make a card project using these. And I want to use the ones that have the most solidness about them. I'm making up words again, Tom. All right.
Okay, so Terry is spending time with us instead of her husband tonight, and it's their anniversary.
Oh, Terry. Terry, thank you. We love you, Terry. Get your husband in here and have him. What's your husband's name? Tell him to come watch, and we'll wish you both a happy anniversary. That is so nice that you're spending time with us. But Terry, we would understand if you wanted to go spend time with your husband and catch us on replay. That's fine. If you want to do that. That's right, Brenda. Stained stamps still make a great image. You're right. Okay, so I am going to, let's see. I'm going to put this down here like this. Hey, I saw somebody say that they hate the 5-minute cards because of, let me read that comment again. Hate the shorty videos because they restart the playlist, the shorty videos. Well, I am doing YouTube shorts, but they that's a whole separate thing. The short videos, you mean the 5-minute ones, Roberta? Well, here's the thing. You can watch them from my regular channel and not look at the playlist, and then it won't start the whole playlist. So there's a little tip. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some blending brushes here. I've got kind of an orangey one and a green one. They're very stained. I use these. I've been using these for my reinkers, so you can see they're really getting stained all the way down, but that's okay. That won't hurt anything. So when you start this technique, what you want to do is you want to pick some lighter colors, or at least a lighter color than the reinker that you're going to use. So some good choices are honey mustard, prickly pear, sweet mango, sweet corn. And then if you're going to go with a really dark color, like, oh, I think I left plum punch in your office, Tom, but that's okay. I don't need it because I have wild lilac. So let's say you wanted to do something like a purple, one of those maple trees that has those red leaves and then they turn purple. I would start with red velvet and then maybe add either some plum punch or some wild lilac. Oh, bless Tom's heart. He's going to go get it for me anyway. I walked in, I sat down, and I put the re-inker down, and I think it's in his office. Might be in my office, so he'll be back saying he can't find it. Okay, so what you're going to do here is you are going to take a leaf stamp or whatever solid image you have, and I'm going to start this one using some honey mustard. Oh, Tom, thank you. Tom brought me the plum punch. I don't know if you haven't purchased any of our re-inkers, we bag every re-inker in a separate little bag. We have our staff do that. And this way, if something happens where they drop the box or, somebody steps on something and a re-inker explodes, it will stay all inside the bag. So I'm going to keep that bag. All right. So I'm going to start this one with a little honey mustard. And I'm going to ink that up real well. And I'm using an ink pad, but of course you can use an ink cube. And then I'm going to add some coral reef onto this. Now I'm going to take the re-inker and I'm going to just put a couple little dots of coral reef right on that stamp. And then I'm going to take my blending brush and I'm going to just kind of smoosh that around on the leaf. Just like that, just tapping it with the blending brush. And then I'm going to take my Tim Holtz Distress Sprayer and I'm going to do a fine mist of water, just one little, of water. That's the sound it makes. But I'm going to do it off the camera because I don't want to wet my whole area here. So there we go. So I spritzed it and you can see the water on the cube now. All right, on the block rather. And now I'm going to stamp it. Oh, isn't that pretty? Look at that. You see how it's all runny? Like you actually took a brush and you hand painted that and you did the little stem with all the veins. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, so let me get my, I'm dropping re-inkers. And I didn't close my re-inker, so that's my bad. I'm going to clean this off with the tidy towel. This will stain your stamps a little bit depending if you're using a lot of reds and things. I do want to get my heat tool out. I didn't have that ready to go. So give me a second here. Okay. And then I'm just going to dry that so you can see what that looks like when it's dry. But isn't that pretty? It looks so realistic. Yes, Tammy, you and I, great minds. So realistic. Yep. And then if your watercolor paper is warping, just heat it from the front, and if it starts to curl upward, heat it from the back, and that helps to flatten it out. Okay, so you can see how pretty that is. That is something. All right. You could probably do a second print, but it would be much more distressed looking, which would probably be very pretty. So you might even spritz it again with water, and you'd get a lighter version of it. Amy, I tried it on non-watercolor paper and it worked. The only thing is when it dries, the paper feels a little rough. So if you don't like that feeling, don't then use watercolor paper, but you certainly can try regular paper. And the more texture the paper has, actually, the better. Yes, I'm using the Distress Sprayer. The reason why mine is yellow is because it was probably the very first Distress Sprayer after Tim got his sample and they went on sale because I bought it right away and I've had it for years and years and years. And one of my craft rooms in the past was actually had a nice big windowsill and I set it in my window and it yellowed the plastic, but the water is clean. Okay. All right. So there's the first little test. I know, isn't that pretty? Tom will play his guitar, Daisy. Don't worry. He's just checking the comments and making sure everything's working first. It takes him a little while to get through, and then he'll pick up his guitar. Okay. What makes it distress? Nothing makes it distress. That's kind of Tim's brand. It goes with his distress inks and his distress oxide. So he calls it all distress. It would be like if I called mine the amalgam sprayer. Okay. All right, now let's get a piece of cardstock and let's try this with a different stamp set. Okay, so, and then I'll come back to the leaves. I'm going to make a leaf card in a little bit, but I want to go to a different stamp set. So this one is called You're Always on My Mind. And this was an incentive set. And our customer service reps get requests a lot that you guys would like to see some me do more with the incentive sets. So I'm trying to do a little more with these mini sets. Plus, if you're just itching for something new, a mini stamp set is fun because it's inexpensive and there's so much you can do with them. Now I'm going to be cutting this out with the Master Layouts 2 die set. So I'm just going to lay that here just so I kind of have an idea of where to stamp my images. Okay, that's just my little guide. Your sprayer turned yellow too. I know, you know, like fluorescent light and stuff. And if you have them forever, it's gonna yellow. Sometimes plastic's yellow. So this was the first one we did if you're just joining us. Okay, so I'm gonna use this stamp. Look how stained that is. Do you think I did something with blue? I don't know. Okay, so this one is not as distressed as this stamp, but you can still get a really pretty watercolor look. Roxanne, I think I'm using the smoother side. This feels a little smoother than the back. So, but it doesn't, this particular watercolor paper that I'm using, it's this one, I'll show you. This is huge. It's this huge Canson watercolor paper. It's cold press paper. Don't ask me. I'm not an expert. Don't follow me for watercolor tips. But this is what I bought and I just cut it down. It's huge. It's 11 by 15 and I just cut it down. So it's not as textured as Tim's paper. I love Tim's paper. So, you know, if you have Tim's paper, you can use the smoother side for this and it might work a little bit better. All right, let's use this same color combination now for this. And then we'll try some different colors for the leaves. Okay, so we're gonna go back again with the honey mustard. Okay, and this is one of those that has, you know, it has flowers and leaves. So we're gonna do a couple different colors. So we'll use the coral reef like we did on the last one. And I'm going to put just a little dot here. Remember, this is a smoother stamp, so it doesn't get caught up in the grunge quite as much. And let's use fresh asparagus. We definitely need to add some green because this is a very yellow, you know, a yellow ink, the honey mustard. It's a little orangey, but I think that's what makes it look so fallish. I love that. So I'm just doing really tiny little drops and I'm picking up some of that big drop there and adding it to these. Okay. So now let's start with the orange blending brush and we'll bounce some of this color onto here. And we'll do that flower there. I like the bouncing technique. Okay. Then we're going to get the green brush. And we're just going to bounce some of that green into those leaves. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to take I can see that this got a lot more red there. I'm going to take my distress sprayer and I'm going to spritz it off the camera. Okay. And then I'm going to stamp it right about here. Yes, if you don't have reinkers, you can also use ink cubes or you can use markers. Oh, that is really pretty, isn't it? I love how that looks. And then if it gets a little gloppy somewhere, just take a little paper towel and just blot it up. There we go. So that's the first one. This has a real kind of impressionist kind of style to it, doesn't it? I like that. No, I just picked, you can use these for the same techniques as you do your ink blending. I just happen to be using these a lot, so they're really getting saturated with ink. You don't need separate brushes for this. Okay, so let's do one going the other way. We'll do the same thing going the other way down here. We'll move it down just a little bit. I want to make sure it's still going to fit in my die cut here. Yeah, we'll put it right about here. So I need to, if you want to be sure, let me just grab a little pencil or something. I don't have a pencil. What could I use? I'll use a little green marker, and I'll just do a little dot like right here so I can see it. Now, I don't know if you can see that or not. It's a really tiny dot, but I did it there just so I know, and I know my leaves will kind of cover that. Okay. So once again, we're going to ink that up. I did clean it with my tidy towel first. We're going to ink it up with honey mustard. Yeah, and if you don't have ink cubes and you don't have ink Reinkers, you can also use water-based markers. I recommend the Tombow markers, or I know Stampin' Up! Has nice water-based markers. Marvy makes nice markers. Gosh, I mean, right now, all the school supplies and everything, you probably go to the big box store and get some water-based kids markers to do this. You just need to really bounce on it with the marker and then spritz it. Okay. All right, that was Coral Reef, and then we're going in with a little fresh asparagus. This is so fun. I don't know why it's so fun to just like get inky and make a mess sometimes. All right, I'm bouncing with this brush. Go. It kind of blends it, but the water really kind of blends it too. But I just want to spread it out a little bit. Okay. And then, Nancy, it will work with regular cardstock. It'll just feel like a little texture. I'm going to spritz it again off the camera. And then I'm going to stamp it right around where my dot is. There we go. Oh, I like that. Don't you like the way that looks? It's so different. It doesn't really contaminate. Somebody asked, let's see, Andrea asked, if you use a marker, does it contaminate the marker? The reason why I like to start with the lighter color and then go with the darker color is you're less likely to contaminate the marker if you go with a lighter color underneath. And you can just scribble it off, and you've got a lot of ink in the tube of that marker, so it will kind of come back. If you'd like to see me do one, I'll just show you one real quick with a marker so that you know how it's done. I just need to find a color that's similar to Coral Reef, and I need to find a color that's kind of similar to Fresh Asparagus. I'll use these. I think this should work. Okay, we'll do one. It's kind of like the thumping technique when you do it with the markers. So let me do one more just to show you. For those of you who don't have Reinkers, I don't want you to not feel included, and I don't want you to feel like you have to run out and buy something just to have some fun. Okay, so here we go. I'm inking it up once again with honey mustard. Okay, and then I'm going to take this marker here. Let's take a look at the color. That's kind of light, but it should work. Let me go one marker darker here. This is going to be more of a pine green. Let's go with the lighter green. Okay, so what I'm doing here, I'm taking the side of the marker and I'm bouncing it, and I'm kind of turning it as I go. And then you can scribble that off. I still think we're going to need a darker color. I might add a little bit of that darker green. So you see how I'm tapping it all over? I'm just laying down some of that color. And then I'll add a little bit of the darker green just to have it in there. You guys might like this technique better. It's okay. It's going to look a little different though. And then you just kind of scribble it off and the color comes right back. All right, let's try this red. That's pretty bright. Let's go with this one. That'll be a little better. Okay, I'm bouncing that color all over. Now, it'll contaminate a little bit, but you see, once you rub it off, then your color's right back again. So it's not a problem. Just scribble it off when you're done. Okay, and we'll get one more little piece of cardstock here to test this. Now I'm going to spritz it. I'm going to give it a second to just kind of do its thing, and then we'll stamp it. So you can see it's a little lighter because those colors are lighter. Might be a hair wetter because reinkers are just a little thicker and the reinkers a little more vibrant. But still, you know, I mean, it's beautiful. So you can make a very impressionistic look. Certainly looks like watercolor. So you can do it. The other thing is you can always take an ink cube. Let me find one. I have to go underneath the desk here. You can always take an ink cube, and after you do your first coat, you can take the ink cube and bounce the ink cube on there as well to try to get the same color. And that'll work as well. So that's 3 ways to do this: the marker, the ink cube, or the reinker. The most vibrant will be the reinker, but most vibrant doesn't mean better. It's just different. Okay, so let's turn this one into a card, and then we'll make a leaf one, because I want to make 2 cards tonight because I feel like giving away more than 1 card. Okay, let's get the die cutting machine out and let's cut this. I'm gonna zoom out just a little bit. Is that out? Or ooh, that's not out. It's like I forgot how the remote works. Okay, we'll cut this. It's okay if you go a little off. You know, that's no problem. There we go. I could have centered that better. I know you can't see the bottom, so it's a little, little space near the bottom, but that's okay. It'll still be very pretty. I like cutting watercolor paper with the dies too, because it still gives it that cute little stitched edge. Isn't that pretty? I like it. Okay. I don't want to lose that. I'm going to need it again. And it dries really quickly if you just set it down. You don't even have to use the heat tool. And then it doesn't even curl really, because you're not really wetting it that much. Putting this away, and I know I'm going to need it. All right, so I need it. Let me see if I can find the right die. I would like to use the greeting from here. You're always on my mind. I did have these already cut out from the show that I did, but I think that's going to cover quite a bit of it, and I don't know if I want to cover that whole flower like that. So let me see if there's a smaller die I can use from one of the other collections. I've got all my dies here. Let's see, is this work? I could do We're Better Together. That would be pretty. This way I can have it be just a little bit smaller. Ooh, and I can do my little die trick. Although I think that, yeah, that'll work. Okay. So this is from Master Layouts, Master Layouts 5, I believe, right? 5? Does anybody know? It's Master Layouts 5. There's too many of them now. Well, there's never too many, but there's a lot of Master Layouts. So it's hard for me to remember. But this is from Master Layouts 5, and it's got that little fancy edge around there. I'm pretty sure it's Master Layouts 5. If I'm wrong, somebody correct me. You will not offend me. So we're going to use the We're Better Together. That's such a nice sentiment. Tammy, you could make this for your husband. For your anniversary. You could make this one for your husband. I didn't see if you mentioned his name because I was looking down a lot. So I really apologize if I missed his name, Tammy.
That was Terry.
Oh, Terry?
I think so.
Oh, Terry. Sorry, I'm bad with names. I'll know your face, but names, come on. Aren't we all at that age where we call our kids like every name in our family before we get to their name? I don't know why that is. Please tell me I'm not alone. Thank you, Master Layouts 5. I appreciate you looking. Okay, we're better together. There we go. Stamp that. And then if you wanted to color in that little heart, you could always take, let's see, do I have something here that I could use? I'm going to use just this little water-based marker here. This is the color. It's a very, very light color. I don't use this marker very much, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put a tiny little dot of this Reinker right onto the acrylic block here. And I'm going to pick it up. I could pick it up with a paintbrush and water. It's probably what I should do, but I'm just going to pick it up with this marker. And I'm going to just color that in to match. Here we go. Let's see if I can scribble that off. Well, this is going to be my pink marker now. I've used all my paintbrushes from my embossing powder, so now I don't have a paintbrush. You know, I use everything in the wrong way. But I'm not alone, crafters. I know you're the same way because I know a lot of you have a lot of kitchen tools and things like wax paper and an iron. None of that's in your cleaning area or your kitchen. It's all in your craft room, like mine. So, all right, I'm going to cut this out. Let me just tear this here. I'm going to cut this out using this tiny circle. We're going to get to see a lot more of the flower if we do this. Oh, thank you, Jan. Thanks for stopping in. Yes, tinfoil. We do the same thing with tinfoil. We're all the same. You guys, you and me, we're all the same. Okay, now I'm going to cut this one. This is that little beaded edge. I'm going to cut that. And at the same time, I'm going to cut the other die from Master Layouts 2. So I'll just cut it like that because I don't need to waste the cardstock. And nobody's going to see the inside, right? So I'm going to cut it like that. Okay. Press and seal. Absolutely, Danielle. We're all using Jennifer McGuire's husband's invention, press and seal. And nobody's using it in the kitchen. Crafters aren't. Okay, so that's going to go on there. I think that's the wrong circle. I think I have the wrong one there. Oh, I cut two also. That is the wrong one. Huh. All right. Let's find the right one. All right, maybe this is it. Okay, so I guess, did I lie? I might have lied. No, I'm not lying on purpose. But I don't think that that's the right thing for that. See, here's my problem. I have been placing all of my dies on magnetic boards, and these master layouts are just too big for the magnetic board. So sometimes it takes 4 magnetic boards to put one of these die sets together. So where did that come from? Who knows? Can somebody help me? Anybody? Where did that come from? Maybe I lost the die. Oh, that would be terrible. Well, I didn't really lose it. Just probably misplaced it. Okay, well, you know what? We're going to stamp this one more time on a different die because I think I could use these. And I think these would work really cute. But I think that this one is too small. Oh, would that work? I probably got this from the slim lines, I think. You know what, let's try cutting this out. We've got a little bit of extra cardstock here, so let's cut this one out. And maybe we'll just have a thicker edge and we'll see how it looks. I could just do the small white circle. You're right. I don't need to outline it in black, but you know, it's kind of my thing, but I think that will work. I'm going to do that. I don't know which ones I used. You guys probably have your master layouts more organized than I do. Now, here's the thing that we've got to figure out here. We've got to figure out, the next one's not going to be as complicated because I won't be using so many die cuts. So what I want to figure out here is what color card base should I use? What do you think? Should I use honey mustard? Would that be a good one? Because I think if we use honey mustard, because there's honey mustard in there, but you don't see a whole lot of it, it would actually make the honey mustard pop a little bit. So let's try honey mustard. I think that's going to be a winner. This is going to go right on the stitching. You'll just see a tiny bit of the stitching. And then that will go right there. And maybe pop it up. Let's pop it up. We'll use some black foam squares to pop that up. I know, right, Andrea? It wouldn't even be a Gina K card. I might redo this greeting. I'll tear the place apart looking for the right die. But I think this is okay. This is cute. It's just a little bigger than I'm used to. Okay. Here we go. Now let me get a piece of honey mustard cardstock here. And I think this is going to be the ticket. Because I think you see so much beautiful red. Let me zoom in a bit. You see so much beautiful red in here and green. But this just, you just feel the honey mustard come out with this particular one. And if I had done more of a red or tomato soup or fresh asparagus, it would be overpowering in those colors because there's so much of those. But that little bit of honey mustard really makes it pop. So let's get the big dog out. And we'll cut this. I'm going to cut this down to 4 1/4. This is a regular 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock. And then we will score it. We'll get the score buddy out. We'll score it at 4 1/4. I know for those of you that are watching on a big screen, somebody told me they were finishing up dinner and then they were going to go turn me on the big screen. And the first thing I did was I ran and put on more wrinkle cream because that's not a good idea, the big screen. I like it when you're watching me on the iPhone. The people watching on the iPhone are the ones that are saying, wow, do you have a filter on? The people watching on the big screen are going, no, girl, she does not have a filter on. I'll tell you that right now. All right, so now let's add this to the back. I like that it didn't warp because we didn't really have to dry it. So there is the first card. It's so, I don't know, is it like Baroque looking or something? It looks like tapestry. It's so pretty. That's fun. Okay. Oh, good. Thank God Bernadette's on her iPhone. I look good tonight, right, Bernadette? Okay. So now let's make a leaf card. So the next card, I think I'm going to cut, you know, I like to go off the cardstock, though, when I'm doing this kind of thing. You know, like I like to stamp a row of things, but it'll sink down into the stitching if I do that. But if I do it first and then I cut it, yeah, let's do it that way. Okay, we'll go back to the leaves. Whew, somebody turned the air off and I'm sweating a bit. Okay, I want to try one more color combination here because I kind of got myself jazzed about this idea. So I want to try red. So I have red velvet here. I'm going to stamp some red velvet on this. And then I really want to try a little bit of plum punch. So let's see how it looks. If it doesn't look good, we can do something different. All right, I'm going to get my purple brush here and I'm going to just smoosh that in. And then I'm going to spritz it. The set I'm using tonight is called Autumn Silhouettes, and it was from last year's kit. I don't know if I'm gonna like this one. Ooh, that's pretty. What do you guys think? That's really pretty, huh? We could do like a series of 3 different colors going across, but I feel like the reds and the purples aren't going to go with the other ones. So let's do one more in the warm tones, but that is really pretty. Plum Punch is really, that is a pretty autumn leaf. But you see how it kind of clashes a little bit with this one? So it'd be hard to find a card-based color to make it look cohesive. So I think I'm going to stick with this combination, just keeping it'll look better in my pictures too. Okay, so we'll start right here and we'll do the honey mustard again. We could do prickly pear, that's for sure. Let's do honey mustard and coral reef, and then we'll do like prickly pear and maybe some tangerine. We'll mix it up that way, but we'll keep with those same warm tones. Okay, so let's go back to the coral reef. Find it. Also, faded brick would be really pretty too. All right, and we'll just do a couple little dots here. And then find my brush that I was using, and we'll just smush that in a bit and then spritz. Okay. And then we'll stamp this one right here in the middle, but up a little bit. Ooh, that's really pretty. And that really looks like watercolor. So let's kind of go with this look and see what happens. This is extra watery. I double spritzed by accident. So Lorraine wants to know if I'll do a class on color theory. Yeah, I could probably do something like that. Just kind of how, I mean, I wouldn't call myself like a pro at something like that, but I would definitely tell you how I choose colors for sure. So, okay, this is going to be a neat card. So this, now I have prickly pear on this one. And then I'm going to use a little coral reef. Where's my tangerine? Do I have tangerine somewhere? Oh, I have faded brick. Let's try that. Let's try a little faded brick. We'll do that on that side. And then we'll add some coral reef on the other side. Okay. And then we'll smush that all in. We'll start with the coral reef on this side, and then we'll work that into the faded brick. I don't know that that's going to look all that much different, but it might. Okay. And then one little spritz. This is a lighter color, so let's do one going down this way. Oh, look how pretty that is. I'm just going to blot it. Isn't that pretty? Patricia, when are we coming out with new colors? You know, our ink manufacturer has been so behind. And so I haven't really pushed them to do new colors, but I just picked 8 colors that I think would be really nice to add to our collection. So I am working on that. All right, so we'll do one more. We'll have one going up kind of like this. And this one, they're so close in color, but I love that bright yellow. You see that in there from the prickly pear? I love that. Okay, so let's do this one. Let's start with sweet mango. And then let's try some warm cocoa. Let's be brave and do something completely different. Ooh, that's a lot there. Let's see what that looks like. I have a brown brush here. Okay. I think I'm going to, I like that, but I think I'm going to add just a little coral reef into it just to make sure we've got, again, a little bit of a cohesiveness to it. We'll just kind of do it on the one side here just to get some, because that's how your leaves are in the autumn. Okay, here we go. Spritz and stamp. That's how leaves are in the autumn. They're multicolored. Ooh. Did I really just throw my napkin away? Okay. I'm going to dry them. Now, I'm going to try something here. I don't know if I should, but I think I'm going to try it. Just want to see what it looks like. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try it on a test spot, and you guys tell me if you like it. Okay, we'll do this one more time on this test piece over here. Okay. We're going to do that more watery version. Okay, we'll do the same one. We'll do sweet mango. It won't come out exactly the same because no two will ever be the same. And we'll use a little warm cocoa. And we'll pat that in. And then, like I said before, just a tiny bit of coral reef. And then some water. Okay. And then let me dry that. Now here's what I'm thinking. I'm wondering how it would look if we very lightly went over it again with some veins. But we did it in a really light color. I just lost my stamp. All right, Tom. Oh, I found it. Tom has better eyes than me. I dropped the stamp right off the block. Now, I'm going to dry this again so that we don't have an accident here. But I have to be more like Bob Ross. Happy accidents, right? It's okay. We could all learn a lot from Bob Ross. So I'm going to pick a color like warm cocoa since it's kind of in there already. And I'll zoom in a little bit. And if this doesn't look good, we'll scrap it. But I think we should try it just for the sake of it. Now, I'm not inking the whole thing up. I'm just going to just kind of, well, I'll ink the whole thing up because it's easier to do it this way. And then I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my paper towel here and I'm just going to kind of rub around the edges a little bit just to get rid of the hard edge. And then I'm just going to real lightly just kind of stamp over it just to give it a little detail. See the detail in there? Do you guys like that? Tell me what you think. Because I feel like the detail really makes a difference with this. I don't know why. Okay, let's see. You guys like that? Or are we still on happy accidents? Everything is delayed on our end. Let's do it. Let's add that little bit of detail in there. Okay? Just to kind of, I don't know. We'll see more of the leaf. All right. So I got the thing there. And now I'm going to grab that little piece of paper towel. And we're going to get rid of the hard edge. Getting rid of the hard edge is actually for me, because then I don't have to worry about nailing it right on top. It doesn't really matter if it's right on top or not. You're really just kind of picking up the center. There we go. I feel like that makes a difference. That little bit of detail. Okay, so we're going to keep that. We're going to do it again with this one. These stamps are so wet from all the water. Okay. And then we're going to go over and get rid of the edges again. Get rid of the stem. I love doing this kind of stuff with you guys because I don't plan my videos, my lives. I just do them with you live, and I just get your ideas and we try stuff, and it's a lot more fun. Oh, see, isn't that pretty? That's so pretty. Oh yeah, you got to do this. If you're going to do this, you got to do this. Okay, and then we'll do this last one. That's the wrong one. This one's really pretty the way it is, but they didn't all come out that way, so now I have to make them a little more even. We'll go around the edge. That's the tidy towel. We need this paper towel. I'm just not that good. I couldn't line it up that well, so we're gonna do it like this. Yeah, and that just deepens the color a little bit too. Really kind of helps to see the veins a little bit. All right. I know it's 7:51. I'm not even looking. All right, so let's cut this out with this die. We're going to cut a little bit of those end leaves off. That's kind of sad, isn't it? But it's okay. Let's cut it out, and then we'll stamp a greeting. Maybe we'll do just a little decorative border down at the bottom with the embossing tool, the Score Buddy. Let's back out a little. Okay. This was really more about the technique and not so much the cards. I'm hemming and hawing a little bit about the cards, but because I want the cards to look really good. But it's really about playing with the technique. Once you get the technique down, you can kind of sit and figure out how you want to make your card. These are not the most spectacular cards I've ever made. I'm not going to lie, but I think it's the technique is there, and that's what's fun. So some videos are more technique based. You guys know that. Okay, so I've cut that out. Then I'm going to add a black border to that. You could add a brown border. That would be very pretty too. Like a charcoal brown or a dark chocolate would be beautiful. But again, in the spirit of cohesiveness of the night, and what makes the picture look pretty on Instagram when they're the same colors. You guys can try all the other combinations, and please share them in our group because I want to see what you do. All right, so let's add a little border on here to kind of separate where we're going to add the greeting. Now, it's not easy, obviously, to see when you turn it over where the leaves end. So what I do is I figure out where I want this border to go on the front. You know, I just start it like somewhere like this. Let's see here. I'll go like right about here. Okay, like that. And then on the back, you can kind of see it, and then just line it up somewhere where you can see it better. And then you can really press that border in. And remember, if you put something where you don't want it, just use the side of the tool to just flatten it back out. So that's hard to see on the watercolor paper, that's for sure. But we'll dig in a few more times and see if we can get some separation there. You can see it in real life. I think you can see it. Okay. I did have a little boo-boo there, but that's all right. We'll smush that out. Okay, and then let's do the same thing with the other side here. We'll do something right up here near the top. And we'll really get it in there. And that just kind of gives us a nice little accent. And then we can put our greeting down here. So let's see what we're going to do. What kind of greeting? I feel like it needs a bigger greeting. My heart is filled with gratitude. I want a nice big greeting down here. I feel like even maybe a die cut would be good. But We'll just, for the sake, we'll just do a small greeting for now. Again, this is not to make a spectacular card. So far, it's working out, Tom.
Mhm.
So what's new in your life?
What's new in my life?
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. Well, it's been a busy week.
Has been a busy week.
We got a lot of rain through here today.
Did you hear the hail last night?
I did hear the hail.
Wow. I just have to always test it first. I never trust myself. Put that right down here. You left early this morning. I was talking to you for about a half an hour while I was getting ready, and I realized that you had already left. It's true. True story. All right, now I'm going to add one more accent line down here, just to kind of encapsulate the greeting a little bit. So I kind of segmented things off a bit. Okay. And I feel like we could do a lot of things if we had more time. We could, you know, speckle it with a little bit of ink. That would be really pretty, just to put a little ink on an acrylic block and just spritz some water so it kind of goes over it. I'll do that in another video. But this will be fine for now. And then we'll get this on a honey mustard card base too, but this card base is going to have to be cut the other way. So I'm going to cut it the other way. Tom, I think that I'm not a fan of this card.
What?
This one. I mean, I love the leaves, but I don't know if I'm a fan. Do you like the card?
Love the card.
Oh, you do? Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate that. See, this, I don't know what it is about honey mustard with this color combination, but it just makes everything pop. Okay. We'll do that. I feel like it needs something. I think it might need like a few sequins or something. Just a little something to jazz it up. It is simple though, and it is kind of nice to have some simple cards in your collection, because you definitely could give this, you know, to a guy or...
That's got plenty of jazz.
You think?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
It's got space. It's got some nice space too.
You don't think sequins? Should I throw a couple on? You can look at them and see. Just a couple. Let me throw a couple on. You know, it's hard for me to know when to stop. Sometimes I just have to walk away. Just abandon the whole project. Put it in the mail and be done with it. But let's just see if we put like a sequin here. And maybe one here. What do you think of that? Anybody have an opinion? I don't know. No sequins. People are yelling at me. No sequins. No sequins. Okay. No sequins. Some people love the bling. Maybe big sequin. I don't know. I'm kind of deciding here. Maybe 3 different size sequins.
Walk away.
I can't do it. I can't leave. I don't know. A little bling is always good. No sequins. Now, how am I supposed to judge when I have comments like that? Half of you are yelling at me, no sequins. And the other half are saying sequins. Oh, my goodness. All right. Well, I'll leave it blank for now, and then I'll decide a little bit later. But here are the 2 looks for this technique. I'll just move these out of the picture. The 2 looks for these techniques, for this technique to get that watercolor look. All right, we'll zoom in a bit. Now, Tom, we should give these cards away tonight. Okay. Gold sequins. Yeah, go with your gut. I know. You're right. You're right. Gold sequins might look better. I tend to use these disco ball ones because they pick up color, but you're right. Okay. Forget it. We're going to go no sequins. This simplicity, we're going to go with that. All right. So we need our faces on here, Tom.
Okay. Working on it.
Okay. Wow. We've got a lot of people here tonight. It's great to see all you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Is it not working? Okay. There we are. Hey, there we are. This is so much fun. Okay. So.
See, those leaves are so stunning that why do you want to
do anything to it? Well,
yes.
It could be, and especially like if I was going to send this card to you, I wouldn't put sequins on it. I don't know. Are you a sequin guy? I don't think you are.
I am not a sequin guy.
I didn't think you were. You're a cowboy.
You were waiting.
Cowboys don't wear sequins. What are you talking about?
You were waiting for an answer.
I was. Okay, so let's give away the first card that we made. It's the We're Better Together card.
Okay, we're better
together. Tom's going through his spin of the dial.
All right. First card goes to Beatrice Russell. Beatrice.
Yay, Beatrice. Congratulations. You get the first card. Okay. What are you laughing at?
Okay.
Did you do a horse sound?
No.
Okay. just wondering what you're doing over there. What are you doing back there?
Gina doesn't hear the sound effects right now.
I don't. I can't hear any of the sound effects. So if Tom does crazy sound effects, only it's like your secret with Tom because I'm out of it. Okay, who gets this leaf print card?
All right, the leaf print card goes to Lucie Poulin. Lucie Poulin.
Lucie, yay! Congratulations, Lucie. Okay, so for our winners tonight, Beatrice and Lucie, what you're going to do is you are going to send your name, your address, and which card you won. So Beatrice, you won the We're Better Together card, and Lucie, you won the leaf print card. And I will get those out to you. I do want you to know if you're waiting for a card from me, I got a little sidetracked. So I've got a little stack of cards on my desk that I will be getting out tomorrow. So I apologize if your card is late. It is coming, I promise, if you've won one. All right, everybody. Well, that was so much fun. I had a great time with you guys tonight. I hope you had fun too. I hope you learned something new, something fun to try. Tom and I will be back on Wednesday for another lunchtime live, which is great for our European and UK friends and even our Australian friends because they can watch as well. So in the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy. We really love you all so very much. And we'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.